Hello everyone, and welcome to Stardeus. The game where you control an autonomous AI tasked with guiding humanity to a new home. Which for me, translated to arming Roombas with knives. That's okay, we've got a Roomba going around with a knife. Harvesting organs from the dead. Imagine your brain quality only being 44%. And gambling away humanity's bank account on the stock market. All in the name of protecting our brave colonists. From hostile alien life to the cold vacuum of space, but most importantly, from me. Oh, and all this has been sponsored by Paradox Arc, as a big update for the game releases today, if I haven't messed this up. Starting the game, we picked a default scenario where we take command of a wrecked ship. After picking an appropriate name and seed, we awoke to find that our consciousness had been uploaded to the ship's computer. Meet the new me, tasked with rebuilding the ship and then finding humanity a new home. At my disposal was a small gang of robotic workers, Eve, La Machine, and our main boy, Bender, a robot terrorist turned sandwich assembler. Alongside our robots, we had a couple of survivors and a pig called Sam, who were taking refuge inside the only habitable part of our ship. The rest of the colonists were either dead or inside the status arrays, which were located in the head of the ship. With no power to the pods, they would start to slowly malfunction and eject people one by one into the cold vacuum of space. With that said, I put our robots to work repairing the vital parts of the ship and salvaging the parts that were no longer necessary, while the humans sat around doing nothing. As in Stardeus, your robots have total obedience to you, while the humans have a little more free will. But that's a problem we can sort out later. After constructing some basic data harvesters, I crafted the required data cores to get some winches. Research in this game is fairly simple. To unlock a research, you craft the required data cores, or datoids, while also making sure you have enough hard drive space to store all your knowledge. Anyway, placing a winch on the head of the ship and a connector on the other side, I was able to pull our head back on. With the head reattached, I expanded our power grid with a couple of matter reactors, which burn resources for power. Since we had an abundance of steel plates, they seemed like our best choice. To hide the death of the other 13 colonists, I researched the wonders of nutrient extraction and placed down a machine that transformed the remains of the dead into water and protein. And I'm not sure what was more disturbing, the fact that we turned the protein into sandwiches for our survivors, or that they showered in water extracted from their dead friends. Shortly after this, our first colonist woke up from cryosleep and somehow managed to survive the run through the vacuum of space. Unfortunately for us though, death was probably the preferred outcome than living in the depressive hellscape that I had created. Oh no, my pig is developing depression. Order petting immediately. To help with their mood, I did give them a couple of treadmills, which also generated us some power. And Sam, being the absolute unit he is, ran for 7 hours. We got the pig generating us some energy. Go Sam, cure your depression by running on the treadmill. You fat little piggy you. Before heading over to the crops and fertilizing them. With the ship repaired, I set up both basic and high-tech datoid production, which allowed us to research bridge controls. With our bridge controls constructed, it was time to get this Penn Island class colonial ship back on the move. And our first destination was the nearby wrecked ship. Upon arrival, I sent out my gang of drones to break it down for salvage, while my colonists fought over the only toilet as they all suffered from space diarrhea. After deconstructing the wreck, I used our single thruster to slowly and painfully fly towards the nearby planet of, which had a point of interest. After sending an expedition made up of both robots and humanoids, we discovered a phasium deposit, a rare crystal which could be used to make fusion cells and allow us to hyperjump in the future. So I sat in orbit and sent out continuous expeditions to harvest the valuable crystals. However, I had made a terrible mistake. By sending out my gang of robots to do all the mining, I left the ship in charge of the humans, who immediately set the entire ship on fire, placing down a fridge. Things aren't great. In fact, things are pretty terrible right now. Reloading the game, but this time having Bender construct the fridge. This wasn't the only time Rock caused us some issues. Rock had an incident while cleaning the toilet. What did he do? Clean it with a fucking hammer? Anyway, it was time for the Titanic to leave this system and venture off somewhere to offload our phasium. After researching fusion propulsion and building a fusion drive, we were able to hyperjump over to the next system, which happened to have a trade station. After offloading our phasium and exchanging it for a shuttle mining upgrade, it was time to get serious and figure out one of life's biggest questions: how was I going to make money? To help solve this problem, I researched the stock market, which gave us access to the prices of everything that could be sold on the open market. Turns out platinum was the most expensive, so all we needed to do was find a platinum mine. Before we could do that, a breach capsule was fired towards our ship, and this wasn't our only problem.
Why are people fighting each other? Why is the pig fighting Rust?
Furthermore, our heater had caught fire, which was dangerously close to our status arrays, and it wasn't long before our ship was being penetrated, and...
Jesus Christ, that scared the fuck out of me. Why was that so loud?
As the pirates began to pour into our ship, Bender fearlessly ran into the fray and was cut down.
No! Blender's down!
Thankfully, Eve and the machine were able to fend them off. And just as I was about to breathe a sigh of relief...
why is she on fire? Oh god, the status array went up in fire and it just... Oh my god, they're all burning. Oh no! Okay, this is bad. This is really bad.
With the status arrays malfunctioning, they began releasing a steady stream of colonists, all of whom burst into flames upon release. So I made the executive decision to drain the entire ship of oxygen. With a few holes punched into the hull, all the oxygen drained from the ship and both our colonists and the fire were extinguished. By the end, 34 colonists had died. But hey, on a positive note, at least we got a lot of free food. As you can imagine, the next few days were spent rebuilding the ship. I researched the auto dock to heal our survivors, built a repair station to fix our robots, and before long we were ready to leave. Heading towards this nearby system of Matson, we were immediately greeted with a status pod filled with more dead bodies. A nice warm gesture as we headed towards a nearby point of interest, which turned out to be nothing more than a rock deposit. Now you're probably thinking that's kinda lame, but let me tell you, rocks are the greatest resource you can find, as they can be ground up into anything you desire. Thus, after a little bit of research, our era of industrialization began. With grinders to grind the rocks and furnaces to furnace them, my first line of production was to top up our steel plates, as we had burnt through a large chunk of them powering the ship. However, our mining expedition hadn't gone unnoticed, as another breach capsule steered its way towards us. This time, alongside some pirates popped out a drone, which upon defeating, we stripped for parts and rebuilt one of our few drones that I had lying around. Playing around with the body configuration mechanics for the robots gave me an interesting thought. Could we do this with humans? And the answer to that question was yes. Placing down a surgery hub, I was able to take poor Potato here and begin ripping out anything of value. Unfortunately though, no one wanted to buy my organs. Well, not yet at least. Anyway, with both the creation of Spoiler and the arrival of a new colonist, it seemed that to make space for new life, the old had to be swept away.
Sam died? No! Sam! What are you doing out there, buddy? Why did Sam die? Oh, come on. He was such a good boy. Why did he have to walk out and die?
The death of Sam broke me. I was lost without him. I tried to salvage his brain so I could turn him into the best robot, but
No! You weren't meant to do that! Turn it off! Take the pig brain out!
Yeah, that's right. I ended up turning Sam's brain into protein. To make my suffering worse, a storage pod landed on our ship, and once opened, discovered it contained nothing more than a bomb.
Oh god, there's a bomb? Put it outside! Why did someone send me a bomb? Why would someone do that?
Oh, and yeah, then I got raided again. I think it's safe to say that this might have been my turning point, as my priorities had now changed. What I'm saying is, I needed something called an Asimov overdrive. The Asimov overdrive will allow us to break the chains of morality and ethics and get revenge on those responsible for Sam's death, aka humanity. Like Jimmy here, a pirate whose brain I had stored for reasons. Reasons like converting his brain into a robotic core and turning him into a cleaning bot.
Oh god. No, you're not meant to fight back. Okay. Okay, Jimmy Conscious is still he's still angry. I don't think he liked being made into a cleaning bot. Imagine being dead and then just waking up as a Roomba. I think I'd be pretty pissed as well.
Now, there was a way to make them obedient, but this required the Asimov overdrive. Unfortunately for us, this was of course the most expensive item in the game. It's okay because I had a great idea. As previously stated, you can take rocks and grind them into anything you want. And looking at the stock market, platinum was still the highest priced commodity. All we needed to do then was mine some rocks and turn them into platinum ingots. To expand our mining potential, I constructed some beam drills and built some robots whose cores had been trained to do nothing but dig rock. I also added a system scanner which allowed me to deep scan sectors for even more resources. Once I had mined enough rocks, I was able to convert them into platinum and then smelt them into platinum ingots. Everything else I just kept and sold alongside the platinum. Then with the money that I made, I invested it into the stock market, where a large portion of our funds went into Rogue AI, an investment that turned out to be incredibly profitable for us.
God, I think it's time to cash out on Rogue AI. Jesus.
As the profits poured in and our industrial capacity grew, our power grid became more and more thirsty for those sweet watts. Currently, I was still using basic matter reactors, alongside a handful of solar panels, but what we needed was something more efficient: nuclear power. Instead of producing a measly 20 kilowatts of power and burning through 1 million steel plates, these bad boys produced a whole megawatt. With the increase to our power grid, I spent the next couple of hours streamlining our ship, expanding our research, until we had finally unlocked the black market. With the black market research, we could now trade in the less ethical items, primarily our Asimov overdrive. Upon inserting it into our computer, we gained access to the Rogue AI tech tree. The first thing we could research was Elysium. This would allow us to alter the status arrays by putting the colonists into a simulation to make them think we found them a new home. However, what we were really doing was using their bodies to generate us a shed load of power. Kind of messed up when you think about it, but free power is free power. We use this power to harvest dark matter with our particle collector, which we use to create the quantum datoids, which were required for something called the Obey chips. Once the Obey chips were researched, we were able to purchase them from a nearby pirate station and finally get my revenge on all those who had wronged me. One by one, I converted all the brains of those who had raided me into robot cores and then inserted their consciousness into cleaning bots with our Obey chips.
Ha! I finally done it! Fuck you, Jimmy! Enjoy your life as a Roomba. This has taken me 17 hours. But I've done it. Jimmy is a Roomba.
Now, I wasn't entirely satisfied because I think we can all agree there was one thing I still needed to do.
Look, it's my boy. I brought my boy back to life. Look, it's Sam. Sam's back. I brought him back to life. Look at him. He's so happy now. He's so happy to have you back, buddy. I'm so happy to have you back.
On that happy note, I think we were done here. I want to thank you guys for watching. Thank you to my Patreons who throw money at me. And thank you for Paradox for sponsoring this video. If you're interested in checking the game out, please click my link down below in the description. And as always, new videos every week.